This is for your own good.
What's going on, everybody? I'm here to do a review for the movie Spell. This is I guess you could say, a Halloween style movie because it is on the horror side. And I have to be honest with you, this movie actually was very good. It had a very solid story. The ending for it was pretty good. I know it's kind of early in my review to talk about the ending, but I would just put that out there right now that the movie ended off and finished off well. But anyway, basically, first off, the movie is starring Omari Hardwick and Loretta Devine. And the movie is basically about this man by the name of Mike E. Woods. And Mark E. Woods. And he's an attorney, he's married, he has a wife, he has a son, he has a daughter, and he basically has a pretty rough background that he really kind of kept secret from his family because of the upbringing that he had. He had a very bad, or I guess you can say, type of strange relationship with his dad, you know, dealing with abuse and everything like that. And I mean some of the rough forms of abuse that you could possibly think of, especially when they do kind of like, I guess you could say, flashback scenes with his dad and himself. And you see that throughout the movie. And basically what happens is he gets a notification that his dad has passed away, and he has to go and to the funeral, and it takes place in West Virginia. I believe they said it was in West Virginia. And then, you know, he gets up there. Like I said, this is a guy who pretty much left his very old life behind, started a whole new life. He's very successful in, you know, the law world. He basically has his name up on the wall as a part of a law firm, so he's very successful. But then all of that starts to take a turn when he ends up in these mountains to go to go tend to his dad, when a bad storm hits his plane and the plane ends up crashing, and then he just wakes up in this random kind of spooky looking house that is owned by the Loretta Devine character, whose name is Miss Eloise. She lives there with her husband, whose name is Earl, and with this other guy whose name is Lewis. And that's where everything pretty much starts to go strange. Now, people who are into like voodoo or hoodoo, y'all would probably understand this movie a whole lot more, because that's where it kind of dives into story-wise with this. So basically, Omari Hardwick's character, Mark, is basically, all he's trying to do is figure out where he is. He's trying to find where his family is at, because when the plane crashes, he's the only one that's pulled from the wreckage, but he doesn't know where his family is. But I mean, I'm sure if you like figure out like throughout the movie and everything like that, that something is wrong with that picture, considering he wasn't the only one in the plane that crashed. You know, then, you know, they bring in the element of voodoo dolls and everything like that, sacrificing, you know, what would you sacrifice to get something like this, that, and the third. Like, there was a part in the movie where they were having a ritual, and one woman, she couldn't talk, so they cut out the tongue of a cat and put it in her doll, which they call it a boogity. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. So she has the ability to talk again. And also was another guy who was blind because he lost his eyesight in an accident, and they cut the eyes out of a goat and put it onto his, and then he had the ability to end up seeing. So they started off with sacrificing, you know, with animals and everything like that. But then as the story goes on and Omari Hardwick's character starts to, you know, find and discover different things, he learns that they also were sacrificing human bodies and, you know, limbs and everything like that. I would say this is probably some of the best acting Omari Hardwick has ever done. And I like, you know, seeing actors have range. This is a different type of movie for him. This is a horror style movie for him. I never seen him in anything like this. And, a while, I thought he was going to probably get pigeonholed into the ghost character, on Power. But it's good to see that he's doing stuff outside of that. But let me tell you who I think really stole the show on a creepy factor. And that would have to be Loretta Devine. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video. I had to attend to something right quick. But anyway, where did I leave off with this? Oh, so basically, Loretta Devine's character. Now, we all know that she has that very distinctive talking voice in all the movies that she does. And I'll admit, sometimes in some of the movies, it can become like a little bit of annoying with her tone. But I will say, for the role that she played in this movie, it worked very well. It added a level of a creep factor to there. And I think she did a very good job of portraying a villain, which is another type of role we've never seen her do. So she's been in horror movies before. I remember the first horror movie I've seen her in was Urban Legend way back in the late 90s. And she had played that security guard. She was in the first one and she was in the second one, and she survived in both of those. But this one is different because she's playing a villain in a horror movie. And a lot of people have said this, and I'm going to say it too. This movie, and with her character, reminded me so much of that old movie back in the 90s called Misery, which is a classic movie. If y'all never watched it, go ahead and watch it. It reminds me of Misery mixed with a little bit of Get Out. That's how I can kind of classify this movie as far as word categories I would put it into when describing the element of it. The horror factor was there. I will say this. Don't let anybody tell y'all that black people cannot do horror, especially after the success Jordan Peele has had with Get Out and with Us. Now, this is not a Jordan Peele movie. Just had to put that out there. This is a movie that's done by Paramount. I'm not sure who the director is, but I know it wasn't Jordan Peele. But it looks like something Jordan Peele probably would do. I will put it like that. I find that a lot of people now are starting to kind of piggyback off of what he's done with Get Out and Us and any other future projects that he's going to do, because now it's like he's created a whole new standard of how the horror genre should be taken care of, especially when you have black actors attached to it. Because it was a majority black cast. I think it was only 2 white actors in the entire movie, one at the beginning and one at the end. And the one at the end you barely saw. And I think he only had like 1 line. But like I said, it was a majority black cast. And one thing I liked about this movie is that you had a black male lead who wasn't the stereotype. He wasn't, you know, this weak character. He was determined to be the hero of the film and save his family. Like, that was the whole premise of the movie, while going through, I guess you could say, an obstacle and a journey to get to where he is. Like I said, the ending to this movie was very well done. It wasn't cliche. I don't want to really spoil it for you because I'm hoping that maybe you'll go and actually watch it. But it was a very good movie overall. Like I said, it was a good horror aspect type of a movie. Well written, well directed, well shot. You can tell they spent most of their time shooting in these backwoods type of area, and I think backwoods is like a go-to spot when it comes to horror films nowadays because it adds a creep element to it. There was a lot of rain that was going on. Like, I was like, is it ever going to stop raining? Were they in a drought to the point where it just kept raining like that, or just that because of the area that they're in, did it always rain? And you know, rain also adds something there to a horror element. When it's dark and storming and raining, it adds like that scary factor to it. But one thing I also liked about the Mark E. Woods character is he was smart. He wasn't this dumb buffoon. Like, it's not like he didn't know what he was doing. That goes back to the whole stereotype that black men in these type of roles, or any type of role, are these sidekicks, or they're dumb, they don't know what they're talking about, they don't know what they're doing. This guy was very smart. He was very intelligent to the point where he was able to outsmart his captors. Like, he was able to outsmart Loretta Devine's character, Eloise's character, her husband, and the guy who I guess they had as the I guess you can say he was like the big black buck. Let's just put it like that. That's the best way I can describe him. He was able to outsmart all of them in a very intelligent and clever way. I don't want to spoil for you what he did, but because he was from that area, even though he had been so removed from that part of his life for so long, it didn't leave him internally that he knew what to do. Because he had such a bad relationship with his father growing up, he still remembered what his dad taught him, and he retained all of that. And he probably thought, oh, here's this guy who's from this area. He's left. He's so removed, because I think he says he's been gone for like 25 years. He's removed himself from that. He doesn't know what it's like anymore. He's part of the city now. He's not part of us anymore. He's not, you know how we are. And he's dumb. He doesn't know what to do. But he outsmarted them. And this movie does have a bit of a plot twist in there. It was a plot twist in there a couple times, to the point where I had to sit up in my chair. You know, when you lean forward in your chair when you're watching the movie, that means it's getting to a good part, or a part that kind of makes your jaw drop a little bit. You're going to get a couple of those throughout this movie as well. So if you're into this kind of aspect of horror doing these type of films, make sure you go ahead and check out Spell. I'm not sure exactly what platform it's on because my plug, and shout out to that individual, they know who they are, sent me this movie because I really wanted to watch this so I can do a review on it. Here is my review. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.